Hey you, you're finally awake. Those were the first words I heard in the Gold Coast hospital. Bleary-eyed, I came to. I was in a hospital bed. The nurse had told me that I'd collapsed and they may have found a blockage at the base of my neck on the CT scan and needed to investigate further. Confused, I looked over to my wife, who was visibly upset but gave me a reassuring pat on my leg. I didn't feel very good, but I also didn't feel like anything major had happened to me aside from some fatigue and weakness. I was more confused and disorientated and was feeling a bit scared of what was happening around me, with emergency staff going about providing care for people who had been in car accidents or had visible wounds. I just felt like I shouldn't have been there. But the nurse told me it was very important that they needed to run their tests on me to find out exactly what had happened. The whole ordeal was equal parts stressful and terrifying, but the worst of it was yet to come, long after I left the safety of the hospital. Weeks later, further symptoms of this event started to surface, and the brain explosion, as we called it, led to memory loss and confusion, as well as being in a constant state of anxiety and worry. I could remember some people and some events, but like a corrupted hard drive, all that data was incomplete. I had visitors come and keep me company for a few weeks after the incident when I'd gotten home, but something they don't tell you about when you're recovering is that people understandably have to continue living, and sometimes that means, unfortunately, you get left behind. My wife could see me slowly slipping into depression as I was struggling with my memory loss and my very sense of identity. In one night, I lost most of my memories, my self-worth, and my confidence. I was unable to work, and I was trying to get my hand-eye coordination back up to speed. I decided the best way to do this would be to try gaming. My wife knew that I used to love Skyrim, which was still a relatively recent release at the time, and she grabbed me a copy on PC in the hopes it would help jog my memory. But while it didn't do that, I did get to experience the joy of discovering the world of Skyrim all over again. And I was so lost in the world that immersed me in the Nordic themes, political intrigue, and of course, dragons. She did buy me a couple of notebooks so I could jot things down, and as my hands didn't work very well, I struggled with defeating Bleak Falls Burrow. I was disheartened for a while and went back to trying turn-based games like Pokemon, as they didn't need lightning-fast reflexes to get you out of trouble. I would constantly try to return to Bleak Falls Burrows and do as best as I could, and eventually I made it through the other side.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
On entering the city of Whiterun, I discovered that I could be a blacksmith, and suddenly I could enjoy the game without the worry of a dagger in the back from a renegade bandit. I told my wife about how excited I was to level up this skill and sell my wares across the world of Tamriel. My wife would move my avatar across the land to unlock locations for fast travel and help me plan out the materials I needed to level up. Skyrim brought us closer together, and she, in a sense, became my Lydia, sworn to carry my burdens and faithfully adventure beside me, much like we did in real life. I leveled my speechcraft and blacksmithing and became a Nordic weapons merchant, repeatedly crafting and selling my wares in every town to help the war effort on both sides, and surprisingly, I never bored of it. I was able to invest in shops and create even more profits, and Skyrim, to me at least, became a tycoon-style game, staying safely within the walls of Skyrim strongholds and towns, peddling my wares to whoever had the gold to buy them. Eventually, I started making a recovery and I got better, and I was fortunate enough to find a job, so Kodiak, my Skyrim blacksmith, ceased to trade his wares, and that character was eventually lost to time and the digital ether. I shared this story once with a video games retailer, The Gamesman, in Sydney, who asked to hear positive stories about gaming to bring people together. They saw my story and made some calls to a person that I'm still in contact with today who worked for Bethesda at the time. And one day, I arrived home to see a huge Skyrim gift box full of wonderful things, including a special edition collector's shrine of Julianos. There was a letter that I still have framed to this day that brought me to tears, and it's because of these people that I've got wonderful new memories to take place of my lost ones. While I never did get those memories back, even 12 years later now, I've been fortunate enough to make a full recovery. For a long time, I struggled with losing my memories of the person I was. But when my son was born in 2014, I made the decision to stop trying to find those memories of the man I was, and decided that I can now focus on being the man I wanted to be instead. In a way, Skyrim had become a huge part of my identity, and I honestly regard it as the greatest game of all time. I still get that familiar feeling when my Skyrim character picks up his hammer and tends to the forge. There's a sense of comfort in knowing that familiarity. I still remember my first character Kodiak, who taught me the ways of the forge, and unfortunately never got to explore the world of Skyrim outside of the city gates. But I do like to think that his adventure ended with him retiring to Whiterun and enjoying the comforts of a fully furnished breeze home, spending the rest of his days happily married to Lydia. Thankfully for me, these days the world of Skyrim has opened up, and my new character and I can venture outside of the gates of Whiterun and explore the frozen north of Tamriel, unlocking the secrets of this hostile yet beautiful world. Despite easily having thousands of hours across my saves, I'm still discovering, or rediscovering, new things when I venture into the wild. With the Anniversary Edition, there's a whole new challenge of element of survival with the new content and expansions that I was unable to play back in the day. Nothing is off limits due to my ability now. The Elder Scrolls series celebrated its 30th anniversary this month, and I'm very grateful for it as a franchise and for the massive contribution Skyrim made to my recovery. I've been fortunate enough to rediscover Morrowind, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Online, and of course, Skyrim in the years of my recovery. The Elder Scrolls series in the past 30 years has offered players freedom, exploration, and unique experiences that we've come to love. It's brought gamers together as we discuss the sense of wonder and scale unseen in games, all work together in the PvP battlegrounds of the Imperial City and ESO. It's a series that has offered something for many gamers, but for me, it allowed me to get better in my own time by giving me something to look forward to when I woke up in the morning. While I'm under no illusion that it's just a crafted digital world, for this adventurer, Skyrim will always feel like home. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. The best way you can support me is to like and subscribe and continue watching my content if you enjoy it. But if you do want to go that bit extra, you can buy me a coffee or join our Patreon, which shows you behind the scenes of this channel. Thanks again.